going back to what I said about being emotionally stable, um, if you are emotionally stable and you're a calm, collected person, the way you interpret things is going to be far more accurate. You're going to have a balanced view of the world and what's happening around you, and your interpretation is going to be far more accurate. This is something where learner drivers don't really get any coaching, and this is why I'm trying to help you here. It's like anything in life, when you see a glass, is it half full or half empty? Depending on your perspective, you can interpret things differently. And what I mean by that is a green traffic light. When you're, taught to drive, you're told that a green traffic light means go and a red traffic light means stop. Well, that's a very simplistic explanation. A red traffic light won't stay red. It's not painted on. It's going to change back to green at some point. So when you're approaching a red traffic light, for your sake and the sake of all the vehicles behind you, the most efficient thing to do is see it, slow down, and as you come up to it, when you're about maybe 10 or 20 meters away, just start crawling to try and keep the whole flow of traffic moving. So as the traffic light changes to green, you accelerate, and all the cars behind you keep rolling too, and that reduces what we call the concertina effect. The concertina effect is when basically the cars stop, and then as they move off, the first car moves off, then there's a delay between the second car moving off, then there's a delay between the third car moving off. And that means by the time the traffic lights change back to red, maybe only 10 cars have got through. But if you were the lead vehicle and you roll up to the traffic lights and you keep everybody behind you rolling, when those lights change to green, maybe 20 or 30 cars will get through before they go back to red again. So that's what causes traffic jams. It's what we call the concertina effect or the procession effect. And a good driver will take the responsibility as the lead vehicle, and he'll slow down and keep everything moving behind him, like a pace car in a race. But interpretation is so important, because if you don't interpret something correctly, or you've got a chip on your shoulder, or because of your mental instability, you're always interpreting things incorrectly. In the workplace, it makes you less effective, and in your relationships, it makes you paranoid, or always causing confusion. But as a driver, as I just said to you, the analogy of a red traffic light or a green traffic light is where your ability to interpret a situation really matters. Sometimes when we're driving, people might get cut up. They might get, they might get affected by the road users, and they might get angry or want to stop and fight. And that's really stupid, because people do make mistakes. You've got to have the emotional maturity to realise that on the road, not everybody's a great driver, not everybody's an enthusiast. Some people just drive because they have to. They don't like driving. I've taught people that don't actually like driving. They just needed a job. They've confessed to me that they didn't really want to do the job. They just needed any job. And, we've got to get these people through, because ultimately driving for everybody isn't a passion. It's a job. So you've got to realize that some people aren't as enthusiastic, or, they're not perfectionists when it comes to driving. So you've got to have that sense of, that sense of forgiveness on the road. And when I teach people to drive, I've got to realize that all of these people aren't natural drivers. Some of them are struggling. But interpretation is very important. Going a bit further, something that pilots are taught, it's a phrase we use called ANC. Yeah, aviate, navigate, communicate. There have been times when aircraft have crashed because the pilots have been distracted doing something else. They've either been, trying to troubleshoot a problem with the aircraft, or they've been, distracted by something else, looking at maps or charts or whatever. When we're driving, the most important thing is always keep our eyes on the road and our attention on the road. Don't let what's happening in the car distract you. If you've got children in the back, if you're lost, don't allow that to affect the safety of your driving. So always aviate first, drive the vehicle. Yeah. Then think about navigating. Once you're driving and you're driving coherently and safely, think about where you're going. If you're not sure, the best thing to do is pull over to the right side of the road and stop and consult your sat nav or consult a map. Because once you've stopped, it's far safer for you to do anything like that. So we aviate first, then we navigate, and the last thing we do is communicate. So if you've got children in the back, if you've got a passenger who you're talking to, always make that the least priority. The main thing is eyes on the road. Think about where you're going so that you're not affecting other traffic, not making life difficult for other motorists. And then lastly, communicate. And if you need to communicate, stop the car. If you've got children in the back that are being rowdy, stop the car. I think for young people, something that parents don't always realize is the most distracting thing in the car is music, loud music, and friends. I don't know whether there's been any research into it, trying to determine the cause of accidents with young drivers, but I can assure you that when you put loud music on in a car and then you put a person in there with their friends, the difficulty for the driver to concentrate is quite tremendous, because obviously the friends are talking loudly or maybe even joking with the driver. They've got loud music on. The thing with the music is it removes one of your most important senses, the sense of hearing. I mean, when we drive, we can hear the engine, we can hear the road noise, which helps us appreciate how fast we're traveling. If you turn the music up really loud in the car and you're driving faster than you should be, you aren't really able to hear how fast you're traveling. And especially at night time or when it's raining, visibility is not great. A young driver might not appreciate how fast the vehicle is going. So I would say for young drivers, music and friends in the car is probably one of the biggest causes of crashes. Going on from that,